Hello everyone, thanks for joining me in this video. Recall in the recent weeks I told you that once America is done with Israel-Hamas conflicts and secure the release of the remaining hostages that was adopted, then the next focus of America and Mr. J. Donald Trump is Africa. And where he will begin his operation is Nigeria. I told you, if you have been conversant with me, see, whenever we analyze issues, we do that based on unbiased position. We tell you what is going to happen. We make research, we interact, and we make deductive reasoning and informed position. I told you, if you have watched or you've been following my video, I told you that the next destination that will attract the global attention, US attention, is Africa and Nigeria precisely. It has happened. All the noise about there is no genocide, there is no killing, it is false, and the rest of them. There are substantive evidence. I told you, once America is said to do something, they have been monitoring the events. There are terrestrial telescope mounted everywhere, taking surveillance of whatever record is happening. They knew the activities, antecedents, their modus operandi of these Islamic jihadists, Islamic extremists. What is their pure motive is to Islamize, subdue Nigeria, supposedly a secular state, to become an Islamic state with the use of coercion, targeting the supposed infidels, those they call infidels. I mean, they're supposed citizens, fellow citizens, aiding foreign assailants, foreign mercenaries to perpetrate such heinous crime. Because there's no way these people will invade or infiltrate Nigeria without the conspiracy of those within the cycle of power or authority within the states. You can imagine that over 22 terror cells have established their base in Nigeria, and you're talking a different thing. And these are Islamic-driven movements. They are radicals. For Trump to have taken that position was considered as justice served. Well, I wouldn't say it's unfortunate that this happened under Tinubu's administration. Recall, in the first tenure of Buhari, that was the first tenure of Trump's administration. Trump designated Nigeria as country of particular concern, citing what is going on, the killings and the targeting of Christian communities. You know, in 2012, the Boko Haram, which is an Islamic radicals, they vow to annihilate all Christians and push them away from the northern region. Not even the northern political elites or clerics spoke against it. I've never come across any video where they condemn such acts. Some of them celebrated that within themselves. Some came out to demonstrate that. Some in their actions and body language were heralding such developments, that this is a war or jihad declared against their supposed enemies or non-adherents of Islam. In a same country supposed to have upheld the freedom of religious liberty or expression. Were there no evidence to that? Have there not been religious-related or motivated killings? For those who are arguing otherwise, defending the indefensible, as one of the reverends or one of the bishops said, that anyone who is saying that there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria is a wicked entity and is an accomplice to whatever is happening. It's an accomplice. Okay, Reverend Bishop David Abioye. We've had prophets Ebuba Isa of Fulani extraction, one of the great giants of faith. He testified, he confessed that they could no longer condone the excesses, the extremism of these Islamic terrorists, that tens of thousands of Christians have been buried. He have been condoling, comforting, commiserating with his own Christian brethren who were continuously massacred. The evidence are there. And such person cannot lie because there are abundant evidence to this. Are they not aware of these things and documentations? And the worst is that people have been calling on the government to take proactive, decisive action to express certain level of political will to address these things. But they end up, of course, not matching the words with action. Or supposedly approaching that with kids' gloves. As one of the Reverend Father of Christian Association, the president of Christian Association, was beheaded in the north. He was asked to denounce his faith. He said no. And eventually they beheaded him. Is that not documented? The same people, when they kill, when they assault, when they carry out such dastard and inhuman act, they also video it and send it in their social media. So the evidence abounds. So saying that the allegation is false and mischievous was intended, of course, to create disunity and to incite the public and against one another. But you have been there watching all these things. You have never made your position clear, or that you are against this, that this does not represent the interests of the Islamic world within the Nigerian state and Africa at large. When Lear and Deborah was killed, we know what happens, the reactions, the body language, and the reactions of supposedly those who command influence in the northern region. Even when one of the political elites, Abubakar, said it, Atiku Abubakar, he tweeted, condemned such dastard acts. Eventually, they came after him because of his political ambition and the rest of it. They have to pull down that tweet. But before then, of course, people have captured whatever he said. He was even intimidated by his own people to withdraw that, otherwise they won't vote for him. Of recent, we've seen the target on Christian communities in the Benue axis, Taraba, Kogi. Plateau has become a killing field. Even the governor came out almost crying that this is a pure ethnic cleansing, genocide. Several Christian communities have been rounded up, killed and dislodged. Sadly, all these people who are saying, no, it is not so, they never stood for humanity to condemn such. By the way, before you adopt any form of religion, belief, or inclination, we are all, first of all, humans. How can a woman have such notion or intention to kill another human being on the basis that they do not share the same religious sentiments or belief? That they deserve to die? Who told you that? God never created religion. Religion was the product of man on insatiable quest. In search of God, but majority of them has nothing to do with God. You can't take the life that you do not give in the basis that you are pleasing God who gave people life to live. So it is rather unfortunate, as I said in the first instance, that this is happening under Tinubu's administration. But whatever happens, of course, Tinubu was part of Buhari's administration. He claimed without his support, Buhari wouldn't have been in the first place, the president of Nigeria. Either by association or by, of course, indulgence, he is part of whatever may have transpired under Buhari's administration. Thus, to a greater extent, he might not be blamed for whatever has happened under Buhari's administration, but the truth now that he will be adjudged by whatever is happening under his own watch. I strongly believe that America, regardless of whatever notions some people are creating across different regions of the country, saying that America is coming to divide, are we not already divided? Is the country in unity? That is the question. If the country is in unity, will there be dichotomy killings? I mean, sponsored, motivated killings, even by some elements within the corridor of power, just as Jonathan said. They hated him, they sponsored propagandas with the Western conspiracy to oust him out of office, just for economic power, economic gain. That is rather unfortunate. Even when there are clear issues of abuse and breach to fundamental rights of Nigerians, they never condemn it because their interest is for economic, they are pursuing power for economic interests and to control the policy and silence the voice of the voiceless. Trump has taken one of the boldest steps, returning back in his second term. Have studied, unfortunately, Biden administration removed Nigeria from the country of particular concern, and now Trump has staged a comeback, have reviewed the developments. It has gotten worse than even when he first designated Nigeria as a country of particular concerns. And these issues in the last decades have not been addressed. That is just the simple truth. And the government continued to give excuses that this is a complex issue. I mean, everybody is being affected. If everybody is being affected, Christian and Muslim, what is the essence of governance? What are you telling the world? That you have no capacity to govern your own people. That is the simple message, which every person can decode. You can't give excuses for your failure to protect life and property, which remains the primary responsibility of any responsible government. The reason why people surrendered their right to you as a government is to protect, to guarantee their safety, their protection, their welfare, to prioritize their welfare, their security, and their safety. That is the very reason why they surrendered their natural rights to the government. But when the government abuses such privileges and the confidence reposed on them by the people, then there is no government. That is just the truth. It is incumbent and demanding on the government. It is not an optional. It is not optional whether you like it or not, you can do. As it is enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution, it's the responsibility of the government to provide water, good road, amenities, and the rest of them. But if they do not provide it, they are not under any obligation and cannot be held accountable. You can imagine a government. These are the lacunas, the failure of the Constitution. The Constitution was designed, manipulated in such a way that it stripped the citizen the right to demand for accountability. That if you cannot build roads, provide basic amenities, protect the Nigerians, they can't drag them to court. You can imagine. No wonder some constitutional lawyer described the 1999 Constitution as an illegal document that need to be discarded. It is not people-oriented. How could you strip people, usurp the privilege and the rights of the people, you strip them of their privileges and rights, that you can misappropriate their resources, the common resources of the people, and yet will not be held responsible, accountable for the life, the security, and the resources of the people. That is just Nigeria for you. I don't know if you're getting me correct. Whatever be the case, these are things to watch out. Now, Trump faith under fire. That is just the truth. Trump warns of a mass slaughter of Christians in Nigeria. Says the U.S. is ready, willing, and able to save Christians around the world. These are one of the promises he made during his campaign. This is an act of governance, taking responsibility and accountable to the people. U.S. being the highest defender of human dignity, the rule of law, and the human fundamental rights, including the right to religious liberty and expression, which Nigeria happens to be a signatory to the United Nations and treaty. So a gross violation of that, of course, has drawn the attention of the international communities. This impunity has been going on repeatedly to the point that it has become apparently clear and obvious that these people are no longer hiding their agenda and intentions. And yet another person will say it is not true. Then what is true? If the Christian genocide is not true, what then is true about their position? That the people who have lost their lives in more than a decade and the rest of them does not deserve justice? The supposed citizens who are being killed, rounded up in their own ancestral homes, in their various communities, in their places of worship, rounded up, burnt alive, killed, macheted, including children, are not being spared. We've seen cases where even children were macheted, lying in the pool of their blood. There was no sympathy expressed by these dire devils, by these assailants, by these inhuman entities, where children were rounded up in a cage and the rest of them burnt alive. So these things are not true. Then what is true? It is very unfortunate that we are living in a callous world that has no rights and respect for human dignity and the sanctity of human life. Now, this is the position of Mr. Trump. Why I said it, I told you that the next focus of Mr. Trump is Nigeria and Africa. You see, let's see, of course, you've seen this, but we're analyzing objectively and with focus, emphasis on the application of this designation, redesignation as a country of particular concern, because definitely it comes with its grave consequences, economic sanctions and blockade, which according to Trump is just the beginning, is the least they can do. Is the least they can do. I mean, designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern is not just where it ends, but is the beginning of an end, of an endless mission. It's the beginning of an end. So nobody should be worried about designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern because there are overwhelming evidence to that. But what happens thereafter is what should be the concern of Nigerians and Christian population. They have been crying, seeking for justice, and it seems that such justice is not being heard. And when they call on a distress call for intervention, military interventions, and the rest of them, they are often ignored. This is the position of the Khan, the president of Christian Association of Nigeria. It's not unfortunate, but that is well deserving or serving as the US have taken their position. Possibly that will restore sanity and make the government to sit up on their toes and do what they should have done. Ab initio. Christian is facing an existential threat. In Nigeria, thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamics are responsible for this mass slaughter. You can't say that Trump does not know what he's saying. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. But that is the least of it. That is the least of it. When Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, like it's happening, not that it has happened, it is still happening, even till tomorrow, except drastic actions have been taken. Imagine within the ratio of 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide, that Nigeria has more than 85 or 80% of Christians killed, persecuted globally. You can imagine. Now, something must be done. I am asking Congressman Raleigh More, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriation Committee, to immediately look into this matter and report back to me. The United States cannot stand why such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries in Africa. We stand ready, willing, and able to save a great Christian population around the world. QED. Let's have your own take regarding this development. It's just the beginning. According to Trump administrations, he have ordered for an inquiry, an inquest, of course, to take further actions and possibly bring these perpetrators and their sponsors to justice. We're in for another exciting and interesting moment for the Christian population and communities. Well, that is a moment of ease for those who have suffered so much casualties, bereaved, and broken and shattered, as a result of the death or demise of their loved ones who were caught up in such very unfortunate developments. I say, may God continue to console them and, of course, give them fortitude to bear this such very horrifying experience, honestly. Not until it has happened to you, you lose your loved one, then you will know. There are families that were wiped off, families of 8, families of 5, that were victims of all this, and their blood has been crying for vengeance over everyone who is an accomplice or who abet or support such. God of heaven will hold them responsible. Not just this move taken by America. Unfortunately, the Christian leaders, majority of the Christian leaders are also culpable or complicit for keeping quiet when their voice should have been heard loud. God will judge them.